second evening Vespers back in our beloved sanctuary. And welcome to those of you at home following along on YouTube as we experiment with live streaming. We are a little jealous of you because it's hot in here. Vespers is an ancient tradition of coming together at the end of the day to calm your spirit, give thanks for the day, and bless the night. Traditionally, Vespers are held in a chapel or a cathedral. Sometimes there's chanting or singing, candlelight, silence, prayer. I have been to a Vespers service in a cathedral in Norwich, England, and it was one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. But I have also, this past winter, led Vespers services from my basement in Wellfleet, next to the washer-dryer, with all of the other participants joining me through Zoom, and that was also beautiful. So I guess what I'm saying is that we create sacred experiences wherever we are, through attention, through sitting still, through calming our minds and bodies long enough to touch the sacred through the ordinary. So right now I invite you to sit back and settle in to this evening's service. I invite you to quiet your mind, to welcome your heart and all that you are carrying with you, to actually feel your body sitting in the pew or on the couch in the air conditioning, to let your spirit catch up with the rest of you. The invitation is this: become present as we listen to some beautiful music in this sacred space. community garden where I have my pot, there is a controversy going on. Should it be allowed to grow raspberries? They are delicious, of course, but they also spread like crazy, and it's awfully hard to remove raspberry canes should one of the offending gardeners decide to leave their plot. Who would be responsible for the thorny removal? We go back and forth about this. Did you know that there can be controversy in a community garden? In fact, there can be controversy whenever a group of people gathers and is faced with group decision-making, right? In the depths of winter, when these conversations tend to take place, I am ambivalent about raspberries. I can see both sides of the argument. The bare and thorny branches don't have much to recommend themselves as they creep toward the garden gate and threaten to advance upon the neighboring plots. Having only a half plot in the garden, I am not even tempted to take up space by growing them myself, which makes me feel as if I don't really have a dog in the raspberry fight. But in the heat of summer, as I pass by the leafy green canes laden with bright red juicy fruit, I am swayed fully into the camp of the raspberry growers. I use all of my willpower to pass by without reaching out a hand to pick a sweet juicy berry, just one. Would they really miss it? But even without tasting them, I am transported back to my childhood summers. I remember gorging myself on raspberries from the thicket in our backyard. Cheeks running wet with sticky juices, hands stained red, legs scratched and scraped by thorns. It was a small price to pay for such summer goodness. Eating fresh raspberries is like a prayer that composes itself. One cannot do it without awe and praise of nature's wonder, a deep, deep gratitude for God's gifts to humankind. One cannot do it without being truly present to the sweet, sticky moment. This evening we gather to savor summer's sweetness in a different way. We gather for our evening Vespers service, a chance to hit pause on our busy day and to become truly present. This time of sitting still is a reminder to be grateful for life's many gifts, to put aside the squabbles of group decision-making in order to drink in the gift of community, the gift of living in this place, the gift of life slowly returning to normal. We are newly grateful for just this opportunity to gather together, to sit in a favorite sacred spot, to drink in the music, to feed our spirits as if we were feasting on fresh raspberries. Tonight, our Vespers service will be built upon poems from the book Poetry of Presence, a favorite anthology of mine, and also the amazing music of Rose Clancy and Max Cohen. Thank you so much, Rose and Max, for joining us this evening and offering up your gift to us. Our first reading is by Phyllis Cole Dane, the very first poem in the book, on how to pick and eat poems. Stop whatever it is you're doing. Come down from the attic. Grab a bucket or a basket and head for the light. That's where the best poems grow. And in the dappled dark. Go slow. Watch out for thorns and bears. When you find a good bush, bow to it, or take off your shoes, then pluck this poem, that poem, and any poem. It should come off the stem easy. No need to sniff or judge the color, test the firmness. You'll only know that it's right if you taste. So put a poem upon your lips. Let its juice spill over your tongue. Let your reading of it teach you what sort of creature you are and the nature of the ground you walk upon. Bring your whole life out loud to this one poem. One poem can save you if you're hungry enough. When birds and deer beat you to your favorite patch, smile at their familiar appetite and ramble on. Somewhere another crop waits for harvest. And if your eye should ever light upon a cluster of poems hanging on a single stem, cup your hand around them and pull without greed or clinging. Some will slip off into your palm, none will go to waste. If you ever carry away more than you need, go on home to your kitchen and make good jam. No need to rush, the poems will keep. Some will even taste better with age, a rich batch of preserves. Store up jars and jars of jam, plenty for friends, plenty for the long, howling winter, plenty for strangers, plenty for all the bread in this broken world. Sifter by Naomi Shihab Nye. when our English teacher gave our first writing assignment of the year, become a kitchen implement in 2 descriptive paragraphs. I did not think butcher knife or frying pan. I thought immediately of soft flour showering through the little holes of the sifter, and the sifter's pleasing circular swishing sound, and wrote it down. Rhoda became a teaspoon, Roberto a funnel, Jim a muffin tin, and Forrest a soup pot. We read our paragraphs aloud. Abby was a blender. Everyone laughed and acted giddy. But the more we thought about it, we were all, everything in the whole kitchen. Drawers and drainers, singing teapot and grapefruit spoon with serrated edges. We were all the empty cup, the tray. This, said our teacher, is the beauty of metaphor. It opens doors. What I could not know then was how being a sifter would help me all year long. When bad days came, I would close my eyes and feel them passing through the tiny holes. When good days came, I would try to contain them gently, the way flour remains in a sifter until you turn the handle. Time. I was a sweet sifter in time, and no one ever knew. Perhaps you are a sifter this evening, letting a bad day or week fall gently away. Or perhaps you are trying to gently contain the goodness that has entered your life of late, the sweetness of this moment. Sitting around you, we cannot see what it is you are accomplishing as you sit here silently. If you are sifting or blending or closing a drawer, if you are an empty teacup, a tray holding too much, you don't need to tell us. Just know that you and your invisible metaphors are welcome here, and that this place and these people are expansive enough to hold you all. So this book that all this poetry is coming from this evening is called Poetry of Presence. And it's one of my favorite poetry anthologies, and it has been especially helpful to me during this pandemic time. For the last year and a half, our lives have been altered. And a lot of the ways we always do things were no longer even an option. So there has been some intentionality along with the chaos and the loss that has been important. In fact, I've watched our community become even more present to each other than we've ever been. Even though we weren't in the same room, we were there for each other. Truly there. Truly present. What does it mean to be a community of presence? In our online Zoom coffee hours, being present means keeping ourselves on mute while we listen to what the other person was saying. Not waiting for our turn to talk, not tempted to jump in, just being present for their sharing. I kind of wish we had mute buttons in the real world. It would be so helpful. And now that things are changing back to the way they were in a lot of ways, how can we continue to be a community of presence? How are we showing up for each other? How are we showing up for our life? How are we showing up for this moment? Poet Mary Oliver says, "This is the first, the wildest, and the wisest thing I know, that the soul exists and is built entirely out of attentiveness." So are we paying attention? Being attentive? Are we present? To work on presence is helpful to our own spirituality. We feel more grounded when we meditate, for instance. But it's also helpful to how we show up in the world. Inspirational speaker Mastin Kipp asks, at the end of the day, do others feel loved in your presence? And spiritual leader Thich Nhat Hanh says, when you love someone, the best thing you can offer is your presence. How can you love if you are not there? The most precious gift we can offer others is our presence. When mindfulness embraces those we love, they will bloom like flowers. We don't always make that connection, that what we practice in our own spiritual practices, coming back to the breath and meditation, taking in the beauty of the trees on our walks in the woods, or coming into the rhythms of the waves at the beach, the attentiveness of lighting a candle on our altars, attending a Vespers Service on a Thursday evening. All of this is preparing us for being present, not just for our own spiritual moments, but also for each other. It's all connected. Returning to the breath on the meditation cushion helps us later when we are in a heated conversation or trying to drive down Commercial Street in July, and suddenly we remember that we can take a deep breath before responding, even if we are angry, especially if we are angry. Focusing rituals like lighting a candle, pouring water during water communion, adding one flower to a vase full of other people's flowers for our flower communion. All of those spiritual rituals help us to learn attentiveness. They help us to notice things. They help us to focus on one thing at a time. Quieting our minds through prayer each Sunday helps us to quiet our anxieties during the week. When we are out in the world and it's starting to be too much for us. All of the things that we practice to get to that presence of the holy also helps us to be present ourselves. Now, you know my favorite tool for becoming more present. I've shared it with you many times. I learned it from Calmer Choice, an organization that teaches students here on Cape Cod about mindful awareness. And here's how they define mindful awareness. Paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, to what is happening right now, both internally and externally, with kindness and curiosity. I love that definition. And here's one of the tools. They offer us the 5-fingered meditation. So I invite you to do this with me. You can put one hand up and use your other pointer finger. We're going to trace our hand. And on the way up one finger, we're going to breathe in. And on the way down, we're going to breathe out. And we're going to do it kind of slowly. So follow along. Can you feel change in the room? Do you feel a little bit more present now? Let's drink in that calm, present energy as we listen to our next musical reflection. It's so nice to be in the same room with you, to be present with you physically, and also to know that there are others here tonight who are fully present from their own homes through the magic of technology. I want to honor that we are in the presence of the holy when we are in each other's presence, and that it matters that each of you are here. You are each such amazing creations, intricate and complicated, made of blood and bone, but also stardust and emotion, and brainwaves and muscles and tissue and deep thought and story. Do you ever think about the fact that each of us grew inside another human being, and we were birthed by our mothers in the most heroic process ever, and then every day from that day on, we had to eat and drink and sleep enough to fuel our bodies, and we had to breathe every second from that first deep breath until now, 31 million seconds per year, and at least one of us has been doing this for 85 years now. And that's not even getting into all of the other physical and emotional stuff that we had to do to survive and thrive. And so it is an absolute miracle that any of us are here. So yes, we are in the presence of something holy when we are in each other's presence. And we just forget to acknowledge that the rest of the week. So we take some time tonight to remember, to remind ourselves, to remind each other, you are holy. Your body is a temple. You matter. What if the holy is whatever we give our full attention to? Whatever we are fully present to, including each other? What if we come into the presence of the holy in each moment that we feel fed, feel nourished? Fed and nourished through food that is good for our bodies. Fed and nourished through friendship and companionship, with laughter and tears and honesty and forgiveness. Fed and nourished through community, the gathering together of all these miraculous beings who are on this journey of life with you, who are searching for truth and meaning with you. What if we come into the presence of the holy each time that we reach beyond ourselves to something greater than ourselves? Each time we admit that we do not have all the answers. Each time we ask for help. Each time we pray. Each time we take care of others in the world. Each time we look up at the night sky full of stars. What if we come into the presence of the holy in our gardens, with our hands covered in dirt, planting seeds, touching growing things, watching sun and rain turn into food and energy for plants, into raspberries? What if we come into the presence of the holy when we stand beside the ocean and we feel our own heartbeat come into the rhythm of the waves? Time our day, not by man-made hours, but by the tides that have been cleansing our shores on rotation forever. What if we come into the presence of the holy when we remember to be grateful for that process of creation that brought this fragile, delicate earth into being? What if we come into the presence of the holy each time we remember that we are created beings, that 1,000,000 years of science or magic or God's plan or the mystical systems of the universe all culminated in our existence? What if we come into the presence of the holy each time we feel held or loved by the universe, by the earth, by a mother, a lover, a friend? Each time we are able to love ourselves fully because we are holy, because our body is a temple, because we matter. Our final poem this evening is by one of my favorites, Billy Collins. It's called The Moon. In the poem, the moon is full, and I was kind of hoping that tonight would be a full moon because that would be really cool and match the poem, but it turns out it's actually a waxing crescent moon tonight. I hope you look for it on your way home or later tonight when it's fully dark. On the moon calendar, when I looked up the phase of the moon for tonight, it had a little advice for us when the moon is at this stage. It said, "Your feeling of safety is now related to order and clarity, even in emotions. You may have the need to organize everything chaotic and disorganized. Try being more tolerant and accept imperfections of life. It is better to trust life and let it run its own way. Not everything must be according to our expectations." So there you have it. I want to thank you so much for coming tonight. I want to thank Rose and Max for their incredible music. But you can clap. They have one last song for us after our closing meeting. Thank you to our staff and ushers and video crew. And really, thank you to each of you. It has been so good to be in your presence, to feel you being present. And I look forward to being together in person again in August. Moon by Billy Collins. The moon is full tonight, an illustration for sheet music, an image in Matthew Arnold glimmering on the English Channel, or a ghost over a smoldering battlefield in one of the history plays. It's as full as it was in that poem by Coleridge, where he carries his year-old son into the orchard behind the cottage and turns the baby's face to the sky to see for the first time the earth's bright companion. Something amazing to make his crying feel small. And if you wanted to follow this example, tonight would be the night to carry some tiny creature outside and introduce him to the moon. And if your house has no child, you can always gather into your arms the sleeping infant of yourself, as I have done tonight, and carry him outdoors, all limp in his tattered blanket, making sure to steady his lolling head with the palm of your hand. And while the wind ruffles the pear trees in the corner of the orchard, you can turn him on your shoulder and walk in circles on the lawn, drunk with the light, your eyes nearly as wide as his, as the moon climbs high in the night.